I traveled to Nashville, Tennessee recently to have a Valentine's Day getaway with my wife. We checked out the Swiss Art Museum where they had a Picasso exhibit, and we went to Andrew Jackson's home, the Hermitage. While there, I did some research on the serial killer Paul Dennis Reid, also known as the fast food killer. Reid was born in Richland Hills, Texas. He began his criminal career at a very early age, having numerous run-ins with family and the police. In 1983, he robbed a steakhouse in Houston, Texas, and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. He was paroled after serving only 7 years. He got a job driving a truck but had a wreck. This gave him workman's comp and a settlement, which he spent on plastic surgery to make himself look more photogenic. He had decided he was going to be a country music star and started getting photographs made so he could sell himself. He moved to Nashville, Tennessee and started working to be the star he felt he was born to be, but as time went on, he started his dream was slipping away. He got a job at a Shoney's as a dishwasher, but lost the job when he got mad and threw a plate at a co-worker. It is still out that his fellow music career and his job loss led him to resort to his old criminal ways and to become the killer he was. Although there are several unsolved murders that have been thought to have possibly been committed by him in other places. It's odd for me because when I traveled to Nashville, it was for Valentine's Day, which was around that time that we started his killings in Nashville on February 16, 1997. That time it was not planned by me. These sort of odd coincidences have occurred many times while researching serial killers or crimes. I was headed to the Hermitage, which is the home of Andrew Jackson, and was going to see if I could find something I'll read after I finished touring the mansion. But I soon realized that the road my GPS was taking me down was Leilani Pike. This was the road that held the location where Reid had killed some of his victims. On February 16, 1997, Reid walked into a Captain D's in Donelson, Tennessee, a day after losing his job at Shoney's. He claimed he was wanting to get hired. Then he took Sarah Jackson and Steve Hampton into the cooler and killed them. A month later, he entered a McDonald's down the road from Captain D's and killed employees Andrea Brown, Ronald Santiago, and Robert Sewell. He stabbed another employee 17 times with a knife and left him for dead. But Jose Antonio Ramirez Gonzalez was not dead. He called up to a phone and called 911. Gonzalez would live to testify against Reid. As I drove down Leilani Pike, I started looking to see if anything jumped out at me. The crime occurred in 1997, so it was possible the building where the crimes had occurred was still standing and maybe even still in operation. Then, as if by magic, the Captain D's sign jumped out at me. I stopped and took some pictures of the building. Then I left and continued on to Andrew Jackson's Hermitage. But after driving about a mile, I came across another Captain D's sign near the Hermitage Bakery. This building had been torn down. Now, I was confused as to which restaurant was the actual one. After some research and looking at a map, I figured out that the Captain D's that is still standing is the actual location of the killings. Reid killed again a month later in April at Baskin-Robbins in Clarksville, Tennessee. He kidnapped 2 employees and took them to a nearby state park and killed them. Angela Holmes and Michelle Mace were slain with a knife. Reid was captured around 3 months later when he went to the home of Mitch Roberts, the manager of the Shoney that fired him, and came after him with a gun and a knife. Reid was sentenced to death. He at first tried to stop his execution, but eventually gave up trying. His lawyers ignored his wishes, claiming he was mentally unfit, and kept fighting until they just could not continue going against Reid's desire. Reid died of natural causes on November 1st, 2013. He was not put to death by the state.